Now the branches of the glossopharyngeal nerve. It gives 6 branches. The first branch, it is the tympanic branch. In this diagram, this first, it is the tympanic branch. This tympanic branch arises from the inferior ganglion, and then through tympanic canaliculus it enters the tympanic cavity. This is the tympanic cavity. On the medial wall of the tympanic cavity, this tympanic branch participates in the formation of the tympanic plexus. Tympanic plexus. This tympanic plexus present in the middle ear cavity, on the medial wall, on the promontory. And this tympanic plexus, through tympanic plexus, it supply the tympanic cavity, it supply the auditory tube, and it supply the mastoid antrum. From this tympanic plexus, small branches supply sensory supply to this region. Now from this tympanic plexus, a nerve that LPN, that is the lesser petrosal nerve. It pierces the roof of the middle ear cavity, that is the tegmen tympani, and carry the preganglionic secretomotor fibers to this gland, parotid gland, and relay to this ganglion, otic ganglion. Now, what is the structures that carry the postganglionic fibers to the parotid gland? So, this tympanic branch, importance, supplies sensory supply to this region, tympanic cavity, auditory tube, and the mastoid antrum, mastoid air cells. And there is a branch, it is the lesser petrosal nerve. Now the second branch, it is the carotid branch. This is the carotid branch which follow or runs along with the internal carotid artery. And this carotid branch supply the carotid sinus and the carotid body that are present at this junction, bifurcation of the common carotid artery. It is the sensory supply. So by this branch, this glossopharyngeal nerve regulate blood pressure, heart rate, as well as the respiration through carotid branch. Now the third branch, it is the pharyngeal branch. This is the pharyngeal branch. This pharyngeal branch forms the pharyngeal plexus. Pharyngeal plexus. We have learned in the constrictor of the pharynx. This pharyngeal plexus is present on the middle constrictor. And there are 3 nerves that participate in the formation of the pharyngeal plexus. One is the glossopharyngeal nerve, its pharyngeal branch. Then it is the pharyngeal branch of the vagus nerve. And there is a branches of the sympathetic chain. These 3 structures, branches of the 3 nerves, form the pharyngeal plexus. This glossopharyngeal nerve, it is sensory. Its participation is the sensory. This vagus nerve, it is the motor, and it is the vasomotor. So through the pharyngeal branch, it supplies the sensory to the oropharynx. It is the oropharynx region. Now the muscular branch, fourth. It is the muscular branch. When it crosses the stylopharyngeus, it supplies the stylopharyngeus. This is the fourth branch. That is the stylopharyngeus muscle. So muscular branch supply only one muscle, that is the stylopharyngeus muscle. Now the fifth, it is the tonsillar branch. These are the 3 terminal branches. One is the tonsillar branch. This tonsillar branch form the plexus around the tonsillar fossa along with the lesser palatine nerve, that is the branch of the maxillary nerve, and they supply this region. So tonsillar branch supply the soft palate and it is the palatine tonsil region. Now this lingual branch. Lingual branch generally 2 in numbers, and they supply the general sensation as well as carry the taste sensation, and they supply the posterior 1/3 of the tongue and circumvallate papilla. It is the lingual branch that supplies this region. So this glossopharyngeal nerve gives the 6 branches, and through these branches it supply this region. Out of the 6 branches, there is only one muscular branch that supply the stylopharyngeal muscles. Otherwise, all are the sensory branches. Now the applied aspect of the glossopharyngeal nerve. First, the clinical testing, that is the important for every cranial nerve, how to test the functioning of the cranial nerve. For the 9th cranial nerve, it is to elicit the gag reflex, and it is tested by testing the taste sensation of posterior 1/3 of the tongue. So there are 2 tests by which we can test the function of this 9th cranial nerve. Gag reflex, it has the 2 limbs. Afferent, that is the sensory, carried to the higher center, it is by the 9th cranial nerve, glossopharyngeal nerve. While the efferent, the commands coming from the higher center, it is carried by the 10th cranial nerve. So this reflex is for the functioning of both 9th and the 10th cranial nerve. Now what is this gag reflex? It is protective reflex, and it is elicited by the stimulation of either posterior wall of the pharynx or soft palate or posterior 1/3 of the tongue. Either of these structures is stimulated by non-familiar object, cotton, gauze piece, then this will result the individual, it is the retching and the gagging. The person start retching and gagging. And why this happens? This is due to the contraction of the pharyngeal muscles. As we know, all the muscles of the pharynx are supplied by cranial root of the accessory nerve through the pharyngeal plexus or through this pharyngeal branch of the vagus nerve. So this gag reflex indicates the normal functioning of the 9th and the 10th cranial nerve. Now the isolated injury of this 9th cranial nerve is rare. Only this nerve injured, it is rare. Usually it injured along with the vagus nerve and the spinal accessory nerve. The most common region of the injury of this nerve is the tonsillectomy, because it comes in relation to the lateral surface of the tonsillar fossa. So there is a chances of the injury of this glossopharyngeal nerve at the time of the tonsillectomy. And what will happen? What will its result? If this nerve is injured on one side, or right or left, then the same side, ipsilateral side, loss of the taste sensation and the general sensation of the posterior 1/3 of the tongue. Both sensation, It is, remember, the spacer as well as the general sensation of the posterior 1/3 of the tongue is carried by the glossopharyngeal nerve. In the case of anterior 2/3 of the tongue, it is separate. General sensation by the separate nerve, while the taste sensation by the separate nerve. But in case of posterior 1/3, both sensations are carried by this nerve. So it is the ipsilateral. The nerve injured on that side, the loss of taste sensation and the general sensation of that side. Now, ipsilateral loss of the secretion of the parotid gland. The secretion of the parotid gland, it is controlled by this glossopharyngeal nerve. So, it will affect the secretion of the parotid gland. Then, ipsilateral loss of this reflex. The nerve, if the right side of the gag reflex will be lost. And if it is left side, then the left side. And if the nerve both sides, then it is a complete loss of the gag reflex. So this is the effect of the injury. This is the clinical testing of this nerve, and this is what is about the gag reflex. And this is about the glossopharyngeal nerve. It is a important nerve. Thank you very much.